Magnifying the tissue of an elephant, an onion plant, or a single-celled amoeba eventually reveals the same destination. As the scale shifts, the differences between these organisms disappear, replaced by a consistent microscopic architecture. Robert Hooke first documented this structure in 1665. While examining a thin slice of cork through a self-designed microscope, he observed that the material was composed of many tiny honeycomb-like compartments. Hooke called these boxes cells, the Latin word for a little room. These units act as the structural bricks for every complex organism, functioning as active, self-contained machines that perform the basic chemistry of existence. A human body relies on massive organ systems to breathe, pump blood, and process nutrients. Yet a single-celled organism must execute every one of those biological functions inside a space thinner than a human hair. This is achieved through a strict internal division of labor. The cell organizes its interior into specialized compartments, ensuring that different chemical tasks can happen simultaneously without interfering with one another. To understand the nature of life, we have to look at how these individual specks of matter solve the physical requirements of survival. Maintaining internal order requires a border. The plasma membrane provides this as a dynamic, flexible boundary that separates the cell's contents from the external environment. This membrane is selectively permeable. It acts as a strict filter, allowing nutrients in while blocking waste. This movement happens through diffusion. Oxygen flows into the cell where concentration is low, while carbon dioxide waste moves out. Water follows a similar path called osmosis, flowing inward to balance the cell, causing it to swell like a dry raisin. Without this constant, active border control, a cell would be unable to maintain the specific chemical conditions it needs to stay alive. Every action the cell performs is governed by a central set of instructions. These are stored in the nucleus, which houses the DNA and chromosomes that act as the cell's blueprint. The structure of this command center reflects the complexity of the organism. In primitive prokaryotes, the genetic material is found in an undefined region called a nucleoid. Advanced eukaryotes, however, protect their DNA within a well-defined double-membrane nucleus. This nucleus dictates the cell's reproduction, its growth, and the specific tasks carried out by its internal machinery. Inside, organelles act as workers, executing instructions. Raw materials are manufactured in the endoplasmic reticulum, building essential proteins and lipids. Materials then move to the Golgi apparatus, where these stacked sacks serve as a dispatch center, packaging and shipping biological products to their destinations. This packaging system was first described by Camillo Golgi, who discovered the unique staining method required to see these structures under a microscope. Every one of these industrial processes requires fuel. Mitochondria act as cellular power plants, generating a molecule called ATP. This chemical energy is the currency that powers every movement and reaction the organism performs. This network of specialized organelles functions like a highly optimized factory, converting raw materials into the energy and components needed for survival. Continuous production also generates waste and damaged parts that must be cleared out to maintain health. Lysosomes handle this cellular cleanup. These sacs contain powerful digestive enzymes that break down foreign material and consume worn-out organelles, recycling them into simpler substances. This self-destruction ensures that malfunctioning cells are removed before they can compromise the health of the rest of the organism. Biological survival eventually reaches its final requirement, reproduction. A cell must be capable of creating copies of itself to allow for growth and repair. Most cells divide through mitosis, replicating genetic material to split into two identical daughter cells. Reproduction requires meiosis. Here, the cell undergoes two consecutive divisions to produce 4 new cells, each containing half the original amount of genetic material. These mechanics prove a fundamental law of biology first proposed by Rudolf Virchow, that every cell is the descendant of a pre-existing cell. Trillions of these divisions happen inside you every single day. You exist as the result of a massive, synchronized coordination between these individual units, each performing its own internal division of labor to sustain your life. Every function an organism performs, from breathing to thinking, is rooted in the activity of these microscopic rooms. the cell remains the basic structural and functional unit of all known life.